Hey, I'm Rob Patz.
I'm Jason Webb. We got to thrive with Rob and Jason, right?
That's it. We thrive no matter what it takes, no matter what happens. We thrive, doggone it. That's
Yes,
what we
yes.
do.
We talk about sports, life, business, of course, all God centered that we talk about this stuff, and it's just been incredible to see this journey happen. And as we get going on today's show, I had some technical difficulties. We're redoing this. We're going to have fun, right?
Yes, that's what we do. It's how we roll. And
Yes, yes,
that's
yes.
it. Hey, listen, Jason, tell everybody a little bit about our guest today.
Of course, yeah. J.R. Spear has been an incredible individual, been an influence in my life. J.R. is a fantastic networker. If you need some networking experience, you need anything within his community, the BLN community, it's amazing. And J.R., I met him about a year ago, and everything that you're fashioning in the networking side. But J.R., tell us a little bit about BLN community, what you do, who you are. Let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah, so kind of going back into my journey, I went in the military right out of high school, and immediately coming back from Iraq in 2007, I started a martial arts school and just loved just the heart for wanting to serve and help people. Even in the martial arts, it's like, what can I do to help these kids and young adults just really build and develop character? And then, after a couple of years, I ended up selling that business and built a fitness business in 4 different cities. And it's the same thing. It's like I just had a heart to wanting to help people grow in different areas. And through health and wellness, that's a big way that you can really develop and make a difference in someone else's life. Fast forward several years, about 10 years, in 2016, we moved across the coast from the Midwest over to the East Coast. And just to be close to my wife's family. We were growing our family, having kids, and now we got 4 little ones going. And I had to make a whole shift in my identity, who I was, because here I am going from the fitness and martial arts space to now business coaching and consulting. And I was started out only working with fitness coaches and
professionals
and nutritionists and gym owners and things like that, because that was a space that I knew.
Yeah.
But then through helping close to 1,000 entrepreneurs build their businesses, especially in the online space, I realized a big gap that was hurting a lot of people. And that was learning how to actually connect and build genuine relationships, how to network, how to turn those new connections that they had into opportunities to really help them grow their business. And that's how Business Leaders Network had formed. And, it's a constant innovation and discovery for where we're at today. But we definitely got really clear on our message of building a community of emotionally intelligent servant leaders, because we want to remove the drama and we want to find people who are serious about business, but we also want to find those servant leaders. So that way, when Jason is in a conversation with someone, they don't have to have the fear of what is he going to pitch me?
Yeah.
But also understand, be like, hey, what can they do to really help me? And then just knowing that we're all there to serve and help each other grow, because through relationships and through the connections, that's how we're naturally going to grow. And we all heard the saying that if you help more people get what they want, then you're going to get what you want. And I think Zig Ziglar is one that said that, and that's
He did.
true for so many years for what I do. And so we look for strong servant heart entrepreneurs who have a heart to just want to give. And I like to call it the give back program.
Yeah.
It's what can we do to help someone else give? Because naturally we're going to build and grow through that.
Well, that's the best part. That's what really tied me into the BLN communities, is that servant aspect of it. I've done a lot of other networking things in different events, and it's always about pitching, right? We talk about the pitch slap. Everybody's trying to pitch you. Everybody's handing out cards. And when we get into the BLN community, it's not that. It's about, how can I serve you? What type of clients are you needing that I might have in my network that I can help you with? And the way that you foster that with you and the entire team in the BLN community, it's been amazing. And so, previously everything's been online, right, for the last few years, and there's some things shifting in that.
Yeah, well, look, I want to hit back on what you said before, and we really keep quality control when it comes to our mission of the servant leadership and not having that pitch fest or the cards. And unfortunately, I've had to kick members out of our community over the past months, just because people come to me and saying, hey, you know what? I got on this call and all it was this guy was pitching me and hard, and then they following up with me and they're calling me at 7 a.m. and why are they not buying my service and stuff? I'm like, okay, that's not going to happen. And so I immediately had that come to Jesus moment with them, saying, hey, you're just not a good fit for us. So I say that because as long as people communicate with me about what's going on behind the scenes, I'm going to do everything I can to protect everyone in our community, to making sure that we are building the culture of servant leadership. But going back to what you just said in regards to the changes, I started building BLN in 2019, right before COVID, and it was between St. Louis and Virginia. So like St. Louis is my hometown. My family's all there. Jessica, who's my ops manager for my consulting business, and
Mhm.
then Virginia, where I'm at. So I was going back and forth every couple months where we're doing local events. She would host like networking events for free and doing like workshops and things like that. And I was doing it in Virginia, and we just did it out of the simple fact that we just wanted to connect people, and
Yeah.
we started a few different Facebook groups, and it just took off. And we're like, okay, how can we monetize this now? How
Yeah.
can we do this where we can be compensated for the things that we love to do? And so that's why, and it wasn't until September of 2022, so it was a couple of years, when we said, you know what, let's turn this into a program and do it. Because my consulting business, I stay really busy with it, so I never really was worried about the monetization. But there is something said that when you add a dollar amount to the program that you're doing, the type and quality of people that you're going to attract is going to be way different. And so, and that was a big reason why, is because, when you start doing it for free, you start getting people that I say like free and I. So you get all the free and I people that come, and it's not doing any good for any of the members there.
Yeah, it's not. Mhm.
Because the members there, they're trying to grow their business. They want to have good referrals, but we attract the people that we spend the most time with. And so
Yeah.
these people that are going out there and trying to get free business, well, guess what? Their friends are also out there trying to get free business. But if you got individuals that understand the power of investing, well,
Mhm.
then they're going to have, the same type of friends, the same type of people that they're connected with to be able to do so. And so inside of our Business Leaders Network, we realized, okay, what can we do to, charge a certain amount of money to get people in here that want to take this seriously? And that's how it formed. But then last year, we do a bunch of bigger events throughout the year.
Yeah.
So we did a summit in January in DC. We're getting ready to do our sales mastery in June in Northern Virginia, and then we have our Florida mastermind in November. But last year when we had our mansion mastermind in Florida, we had about 45 people there, and throughout the first or second day, I challenged everyone. I was like, hey, you know what? I want everyone to take 15 minutes to find someone that you haven't connected with, that you don't even know, and I gave them specific questions to ask. And it was nothing hard. It was just my main goal was really just to foster more communication and relationships that we leave.
Mhm.
Well, I did that, and then I'm walking around. There was like a big pool area. Then the inside is just there's a lot of space. And I'm walking around. I'm like, man, these 45 people, they're with one person, and they're still in conversation 3 hours later.
See, that's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is just the people that show up to our events, which I truly believe that we do events differently than a lot of other people. I go to a ton of events, speak a lot of different places, but we really foster that culture of connection. And
Mhm.
so when I left that event, I was like, man, we need to figure out something that we could do on a local standpoint. What can we do to really build community in local areas that is building a hybrid program? So we still have the online, master classes and networking, and that's great. We still got,
Mhm.
a lot of people show up to that, but more importantly, people want to network with people in person and get to know them. And so I just put it out there. It's like, okay, who do I know that would be interested in being a good servant leader that would want to host live events? And
Mhm.
less than 30 days, we got like 20 to 25 people to do leadership. And then now we're constantly vamping it. So like we
Mhm.
require like training in Virginia for people to come out so we can go through it all. And I think we're up to about 35 or 40 leaders now,
Yeah.
with the new people that didn't start because they're coming to our next training in May. And it's just been really cool to see it grow. Some slower than others, some areas.
Mhm.
And that's okay. If the way I see it is, if there's always that brand awareness whenever
Yeah.
you start something new, that's hard.
It
But
takes a while to get that out there. Yeah.
but let me add some encouragement for you too, Jason,
Sure.
because I know you being a leader and out in Denver, you've kind of
Yes.
had the struggle of like how to get
Yes.
people there. When I started in Virginia in 2019, and I had my assistant that was working for me at the time was like, hey, I'm gonna do a networking event. And we started with like one
Mhm.
location to be able to do it, and it was completely for free. And I had like 2 people show up. I was like, and I'll tell you the
It
feeling.
happens, man. Yeah.
Well, the feeling of being embarrassed and just like, man, what did I do differently? Like, what can I do differently to make this so that when people want to show up and to really do it? Because I thought we did everything right. Like they're showing up, it's adding
Mhm.
connections. I mean, people in my area love to network, but I gave every excuse possible. We're like, people in Virginia and DC don't like to network. They don't have the money to do this. They don't, like, every excuse possible. And I felt defeated. And I was like, do I even want to do this? And so I just went back to the virtual and just was doing that for a while. And then when we were doing it in St. Louis, Jessica, my sister that was hosting the events out there,
Yeah.
she would have like 10, 15, 20 people show up. I was like, what is she doing different than me?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly, right?
I know
Yeah.
she's younger. I know she's prettier, and I know that people want to get to know her, but still. And so I gave every excuse, like, oh, St. Louis is better than Virginia, and St. Louis is, those people out there, they know how to network, and they want to connect a little more because they're Midwest old school boys. And then now it's like completely switched, where like I gave up for a while. Like I was only went to the virtual. I stopped the in-person things and started monetizing it. But I gave up for at least 1 or 2 years where I just didn't do any in-person networking. And I was like, anti this, screw this. No one wants to come. No one wants to network. And, but I was like, I'm going to give this another shot. And now we'll easily have 20, 25, even 40 plus people show up to our events now, but it didn't start.
That's cool.
And I quit. I gave up because I gave every excuse possible of why people didn't want to network here.
Yeah.
But it's all that brand awareness where once you get a few people in there and they're bought into the vision, that's the key thing. They got to be bought into the vision of what you're doing. When they're bought into that vision, they're going to want to show up. And guess what? They attract other certain leaders that want to do the same. And then now it's the compound effect where you get one that brings another, and then those two each bring another.
Just start chain event, yeah.
Compounding effect over time, and you will get there in Denver when with it happening. If you give up, you won't. But
hey,
keep pushing, right?
JR, I want to ask you a question. So, like you said, you gave up, but then did you spend time? Because I think business people love to kind of get into the mindset of what made it then successful. Did you change anything when you went back to doing in-person events, or did you just say, I'm just going to keep doing this until the people show up?
No, the big thing was changing our messaging, changing our vision. We weren't clear. We didn't have a clear vision of what we were doing. And even though we had this going on for a few years, it was like, okay, we want to attract these type of people that want to help and that want to network and things like that. It's the same old networking, but we weren't any different than anyone else. So it was really boiling down on being specific on who we wanted to have in the room, but also being clear on the vision of what we want to attract and how we want to convey us. And when we started, well, it all boiled down to honestly getting a light bulb moment at our Florida event, but then also being clear on the vision. It was like, hey, what really made me different in entrepreneurship? I built 7 businesses since 2007. And, it always came down to, I did everything to just serve people. And I did so expecting nothing in return, because I always knew that God would provide for me. Every time I do something, he's always taking care of me in a way bigger than I even thought. So I'm like, okay, let me, and whenever I get in the point of desperation where I was like, you know what, I got to make that next sale. I got to get a new client. I got to do this. I have more stress. I had more anxiety. I end up getting burnt out, hate doing what I'm doing. My family hates me being around, and it just is not a good place to be. But when you finally let go and lay things down at the cross and say, hey, God, you know what? This is in your control. It's not me. Because even in 2 Timothy, the scripture is really clear that he says that I do not give you a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and sound mind. And so when we get that fear that fear inside of us, or anxiety and worry, we have to ask ourselves, where's that coming from? And usually that's of the enemy to really bring it into us. Completely. And then we start acting off of that. And so when we start having that fear, that anxiety, that burnt out, we feel like we got to go out there and do more. So how can I go out there and make that next sale? So I'm going to go call those people at 7 a.m. and let them know, like, get them in here and do this. I'm like, this is supposed to be. And whenever I sit back and, to be really honest, the more that I've actually let go and be like, okay, God, you're in control, the more I get anxiety, because I'm like, I got nothing to do. Like, I'm getting there's new members. I'm looking at this. I think we had two new BLM members sign up yesterday. I had a new coaching client that signed up yesterday. I'm like, if I really wanted to put it down, that's over $7,000 in new agreements where I'm doing nothing. I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm really bored. Like, I get anxiety when I have nothing to do. And
you're hyped up like we are, man. It's crazy with the BLM local stuff. Just for clarity for everybody, BLM locals are they're popping up all over the United States in terms of networking groups there. And so when we talk about all of the networking pieces of this, BLM community is not just completely networking. There's trainings involved. There's everything else throughout the week, right? Like, what does a normal week look like for the BLM community if you do join?
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, we want to position ourselves as a mastermind networking organization. So the reason why I say mastermind is because we can have all the networking that we want, but we really want to empower the small business owners with the tools and resources that can help them grow. I mean, the same things that I teach my clients on building 6 or even 7-figure businesses is the same things that we're teaching inside of BLN. And we have like high level people. Like yesterday we had Deborah Razzo.
Teaching AI.
And she taught about AI, and the really cool thing about what she did was like, I know all about AI, like I use it every single day, but the things that she went through, I was like, I had no clue about this. And I even had a couple of people in the chat on the Zoom was like, oh, this stuff is so basic and things like that. I said, you know what, Deborah, and my response on the private message to him, I said, this lady makes more money than probably every single person in here combined in 1 month. And she works for Tony Robbins on his team. She has a bed and breakfast in Puerto Rico. She has a massive empire in real estate that she does, and she owns her women's community that she does. She does phenomenal in business. And the thing is, when in the beginning she was talking about like, okay, regular ChatGPT and things like that, but then she went into some certain things in ChatGPT that I'd never even seen before. They're teaching us on how you can create your own like bots and different things that you could do with that, or create
custom GPTs and things.
Well, she was showing us different prompts. Like, man, I felt like I was pretty good in prompts, but she actually created a system off these prompts. I'm like, this is teachable. This is duplicatable. So we got someone like her. We have Dr. Nate Sala that teaches classes, at universities. He has his doctorate in entrepreneurial leadership. I want to address that too, because as entrepreneurs, as Christians, we have to really understand and be and keep our eye out for understanding like what's real and what's not, and where's the enemy and not. Because I know a lot of people that have a doctorate degree or whatever like that, or call themselves Dr. So-and-so, but look where that doctor came from. And it's like, how did this person become a doctor in like less than a couple of years, or not even a year? Well, they're doing a non-accredited university that they did online to submit a couple of answers, and now they're considered a doctorate in whatever they do. But when you really look at the individual, where do they get their credibility and stuff from? Then you're going to start understanding like what's real. Where should you even listen to? Yeah. What information should you gain? And rather than just being a fool and just be like, okay, this person's a doctorate in what? And a fool in con, and a doctorate in con, being a con artist. But the thing is, Dr. Nate Sala, he's one of our advisors within Business Leaders Network, and teaches classes, but he teaches at college universities in St. Louis, and has his doctorate in entrepreneurial leadership. We have Mike McCloskey that teaches classes on PI and understanding people, and really getting deep into really knowing who needs to work with who and what. And then me, mine is all from experience. Yes, I have a bachelor's degree in business, but mine's from teaching thousands plus
school of hard knocks, right?
Yeah, but here's the other thing too, is whenever you're looking from getting advice from anyone, you got to ask yourself, like, what did they do themselves? Because we can all read a book. Look at a college professor. When they go to college professor, most of them are really great at teaching advice and stuff like that, but they've never done anything themselves. Here's the problem with that. Yes, they can give you the knowledge, but when you are going through the most difficult time inside of your business, or good time, they're not going to know how to navigate you through those issues because they never gone through it themselves. And so I like to say my experience comes from, or my knowledge and what I teach people comes from my own experience of failures and success, and like being down deep of like, man, I've gone through it where I've had a business stolen from me. I've had to sell a business. I've had, things I had to start and shut down and reinvent myself over and over again. And so when I see a new challenge in front of me, it's not unfamiliar territory. It's I know what it smells like, I know what it feels like, and I can laugh at individuals when they're going through, because I'm like, I know exactly what you're going through.
I've been there, right? Yeah,
been there, done it, and it doesn't scare me.
The entrepreneurial journey is the ups and downs, and people, they think about having their own business and it's going to be all, everything's going to be fantastic, and that's not always the case. And so that mindset piece, as being an entrepreneur, you're going to go through a lot of struggles. There's going to be some highs, there's going to be some lows. There's going to be more lows than highs most of the time, and you're going to learn more from the failures than you are from the successes, right? So failing forward, we talk about that in some past shows, but just the BLN community is been awesome. It's been fantastic. How does somebody check out the BLN community?
Oh, it's simple. You just go to our website, blncommunity.com, and I believe you guys dropped that in there.
We'll drop that QR code up there again. Yeah,
just blncommunity.com. Go in there, click on Guest Pass, and you'll be coming in there. But you mentioned before, is like, what does the day-to-day look like, or weeks look like for BLN? Is we have master classes throughout the week. We have virtual networking. We have networking in-person community or events going on throughout the weeks, like in a lot of different locations. And my vision is to truly have over 100 different leaders by the end of 2024, that we are conducting 100 different events every single month and somewhere in the country. And so I'm on the hunt for it. So if you know anyone or anyone's listening is going to be like, hey, you know what? I resonate with your mission. I resonate with what you want to do. And I would love to learn more about what that looks like. I would love to invite them to come and just reach out to me, and let's have that conversation and see how we can get you started.
Yeah, emotionally intelligent servant leaders. That's what we're looking for.
Really
So
simple.
if you love to serve, if you love to help people, that's what this is about. It's not about consuming everything. It's about actually serving and providing, and especially, with our faith background, that is huge, right? Servant leaders and how we build that out. So JR,
Hey, before
what?
JR goes, I want to ask him one thing, and I know he's got to go, but JR, I know your heart, and I love listening to you. There's somebody out there that's sitting right now, I'm sure, on the fence going, should I start my own thing? Should I become an entrepreneur? Give them one piece of advice if they're sitting there on that fence.
Well, I want to give a couple pieces of advice. For one is the first thing that you got to really think about, like, what is your core values and non-negotiables in your life? And so in today's generation, there's so many opportunities to be able to start a business. And I always try to tell everyone that if you have the heart and desire to want to serve and help people, and you have something that can solve a problem in the world, then create a model off of it. So that is one thing off of it. I mean, I think anyone that has that, I mean, the only way you're going to fail is if you quit. And you can start your own business while working for someone else. And I did. I was in full-time sales for a long time while I was building my own business. And there's a time and place where God says, okay, now it's time to go full-time. So you're always, when it comes to being a leader and starting something, there's always in discovery mode. And in discovery, it's discovering, like, the problems. Is there a need on the market for what you have to offer? Like, do people even want it? And so really understanding what that is. And then after discovery, you got innovation. So once you discover what that problem is, now you got to innovate. You got to innovate and create programs and offers and tools and resources or physical products, whatever, or service, whatever it may be, that helps solve those problems. So you got to discover to see if there's even a problem on the market, and then you got to innovate to create the solution that's going to help solve it. And so anyone that's on the fence saying, hey, you know what, I had the idea of being an entrepreneur, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. It's a scary place. And entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. It's not. It takes what I call your creed, which is the name of my consulting business. And creed is an acronym that I created that to really help people understand, like, what they need to, what they're getting themselves into. But it stands for commitment, resilience, excellence, execution, and discipline. And so the big question I ask everyone, what is the one thing that you're most committed to? That be resilient even through the most difficult times, showing up every day, giving your best, and having the mental and physical discipline to complete your mission. And so when it comes to going back to what I said before about non-negotiables, we have to see if what we want to create and aligns with our non-negotiables of what we want to do. And so for me, it's family. And so when going into like the last year, we do a Christian private school right now. With our two oldest ones, and we have a preschool that we do at our church for my baby girl. And there was when we went to our Florida event last year, I took my whole family down there for 2.5 weeks, and we kind of made it a work vacation type thing. So a week down there where we did Disney, and we're supposed to go to the beach and all this stuff. And then we had our event for about a week. And then when we got back, we got so much grief from the school. It's a Christian private school, but from the school about why we missed so much school. And now it's a hybrid school. So they go to school 3 days a week and then they're off 2 days a week. And then my wife and I had to fill out so much paperwork for the next couple of weeks to really explain and justify it. And I'm like, because of that, I said, this does not fit into the mold of what I feel God put on our heart. We are pulling them out. We're going to homeschool full time. So starting next year, we're going to homeschool full time. And I say that because you have to be clear on the vision of what God has on your heart and what you're going to do. And then you have to make sure that you have the guts to follow through and do what God's called you to do. And so for me, having that family memories and experience, like my mentor, Nate, Dr. Nate Sala, I'm part of his mastermind. He's been a personal friend and a mentor of mine for more than 15 years. But he always says, like, count your summers. How many summers left do you have with your kids before they're out of the house? Because you can never get that back. And I'm like, man, I only got 10 more summers left with my oldest, who's only 8 years old. I'm like, I got so much life and things that I have to do to equip him and to make sure he's prepared for the world. And I'm not going to allow the society of school, government, or whatever to tell them of what they need to do and how to do it. And
Mhm.
because of that, I'm clear on the mission for my family. I'm clear on our non-negotiables of what I'm not allowing to happen. And is it scary territory to go into homeschool 4 kids full time? Heck yeah, I'm
Heck yeah,
terrified.
right?
But you know what? I'm listening to the voice of God and being obedient to what He's called us to do and the mission that He has us on, and that is why I'm able to step into entrepreneurship. So going back to your question, Rob, on why if someone's on the fence and want to be in entrepreneurship, they have to ask themselves several different things. What's their mission for their family and the non-negotiables that they're not going to allow anything to do to get in the way? They need to ask themselves, do they have something that they can offer as being discovery? Do they have a problem that they see on the market that they can innovate and create and offer a product or service to help solve that? And if they do, I say follow your heart and go in with 2 feet, because if you're always 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you'll never be successful. But if you go all in, there's nothing but up. As long as you
I love
keep
it.
committed.
I love that, JR. You know, with our show being called Thrive, you're the epitome of thrive in everything that you do in your life, your business, your family. Those values are core strengths, and that's one reason why you and I resonated and became friends and built this out. And it's just been incredible hearing about BLM community, being a part of it. You know, everything that you're building within that. So anybody, check that out, blmcommunity.com. That QR code is up there. We have the websites up there. Check all of that out. But JR, I really appreciate you being our guest today.
No, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity and thinking of me.
Yeah.
Hey,
definitely,
thanks,
definitely.
JR. Appreciate you so much. I know you got to run, so we appreciate you. Have a blessed day.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you
Thanks,
guys.
JR.
Thank you.
So,
Hey,
Rob,
man,
that was awesome, right?
that was awesome. I love him, man. He's a great man. I dug that
Yeah,
completely.
JR is a fantastic individual, just a incredible guy. His heart, his work ethic, you know, why he's building it out, that emotionally intelligent servant leadership model with BLM community. It's just really cool in how that works. You know, I've been a part of a lot of the networking groups, but when you go to a networking group or when you go into the communities and you're actually talking about, you know, how can I serve you? You know, how can I help you? It is the epitome of the Christian business like mantra, right? How can we serve?
Yep. No, definitely. Hey, listen, we're going to be at a great event called Ignite. It is coming up in just a couple of weeks in Omaha, though Jason likes to tell me it's actually
Council Bluffs,
Iowa.
yes.
Yeah, it's just right across the bridge, so it's
Yes.
it's like Omaha, and we would love to see you there. Both Jason and I will be there. It's going to be an amazing time. We want to see you on May. Jason, what are the dates
May
again?
16th and 17th. If you want to check it out, ignite-cb.com. Ignite-cb.com. Check it out. Some great speakers, some really powerful speakers. Got to be a lot of Christians there. You know, we have Dr. Lance Wall now. We have Hank and Brenda Kuhneman, Gary Kesey. We have Craig and Desiree Bouye. Just some incredible people, big hearts of God. God will be present. There's going to be some huge things that are going to happen there. Love to see you there. And also you can also meet Rob and myself and shake some hands and talk and, you know, give some hugs. We'll sign some autographs. I don't think people want our autographs, Rob, but it's okay. You know,
If anybody asks us to sign anything, it's probably some legal document I don't want to sign.
Might be a parking ticket or something, right? Yeah.
Hey, listen, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks so much for watching live or on Abundant TV. We appreciate doing both. We've had some amazing numbers over the last few weeks, and we just appreciate it because we have realized that people, especially in business, hey, they want to thrive and they love being encouraged. And we hope that's what this show is every week. We want to encourage you, go out there and in your business, thrive this week.